Hey guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are and when you're watching this, welcome to a new vlog. Here at Jaguar Land Rover showroom in Hyderabad for an exciting test drive. That's a Jaguar I-Pace. So the first impression that I got when I started this car and started driving it is the usual EV silence and how easy it is for a 2.2 ton car. You hardly have any learning curve, just put it in drive and then just go. So talking about specs, this car has a 90 kilowatt hour battery, almost 400 brake horsepower, 696 Nm of torque. All that torque comes instantly almost. This has two motors and it's an all-wheel drive car. It's fully loaded with features. It's competing with Audi e-tron, Mercedes EQC. Not exactly in the same class or category because Jaguars are usually known for their sporty nature. Mercedes is more on a comfortable side. Audi is again feature loaded. So all three are different. I'm not a big fan of comparing cars, but if you're looking at that similar price bracket, this is definitely the car to consider among the three. So far in our construction filled roads, the suspension is handling pretty well. This doesn't have the air suspension. It's an optional accessory or a feature that you can add on. So this has three riding modes: Eco, Comfort and Sports mode. Comfort mode is pretty much what you would use in the city. Eco, let's say on you're trying to save some range and all. And Sport, if you're excited to drive, definitely that is a mode to check it out. In Sports mode, the suspension stiffens up a bit, but besides that, there are hardly any upgrades on the suspension side. It is a very plush and comfortable ride in Comfort mode right now. The ground clearance on this car right now is around 165 mm if I'm not wrong, and it goes up to 205 with the air suspension. That is an interesting feature to have on a crossover. How does it drive? So far I've hardly crossed 40-45, but it's just simple and easy to drive. So that's the first time I felt some acceleration, and oh boy, it's quick. This is what, like 30 to 60, not those 0 to 60 or 0 to 100, just in-gear acceleration. The most surprising thing so far is how pliant the car is. It feels very stable, hardly any body roll for a decently heavy car. You are not so high compared to typical SUVs, but this is a crossover, so the nature of it is to feel and handle sporty, but at the same time give you that some of the SUV feel where you sit kind of tall. This is addictive, man. Addictive acceleration. The brakes are good. You can adjust regenerative braking on this car. This doesn't get paddle shifter, so if you have to adjust regenerative braking, you have to go to the screen and do the adjustments. There are two levels, low and high. Currently the regeneration is at a very low level. In the high level, you can probably try single pedal driving. As of now, hardly use the brake because the regeneration is still good enough for me. I like at this setting. It's not intrusive. Sometimes what happens is, in our conditions, the braking is unpredictable of the vehicles around you. With regenerative braking, I don't think the brake lights light up, so the person behind us doesn't know when the car is braking or regeneration is being used. So there is a chance someone can easily bump into you. I don't know if you can hear this, but hardly any road noise inside the cabin. I can feel the suspension noise slightly, but that's me nitpicking. This car has additional noise that is inbuilt. So whenever you're accelerating, you get an artificial noise. It's not the actual motor noise, not the typical EV buzzing or whining sound. They have artificially engineered a sound. So far we haven't gotten a stretch where I can fully feel it, but I can still hear it. It's probably hard to pick up on the cameras. You might be noticing that there is a panoramic sunroof, right? So that's a fixed roof, it's not a sunroof. You can't open it. But I like this kind of setup because hardly people use a sunroof. So far we've been in eco mode. Let's go all the way till dynamic and see. So in the digital driver display, the dials also change color to red, sporty. So EVs are all about acceleration. Found a stretch where where it's safe to do a 0 to 100 run. So it's in dynamic. So we have traction control partially off. Hope you heard that. That is the sound that I was talking about. The sheer acceleration that you feel, just the performance is exciting, man. I've experienced EV acceleration, but this is next level, yeah. Like 600, 700 Nm of torque, and the suspension's pretty good. So the ride on this car is very plush. Even in dynamic mode, it does stiffen up a bit compared to eco and comfort mode, but it's not so hard that you would feel all the bumps on the road. Like when I'm talking about bumps, this is the stretch of the road where there is quite a bit of off-road, but this car can definitely handle it. I'm doing 20 to 30 kilometers per hour on this stretch, and you hardly feel that bad road inside the cabin. The NVH levels are quite good. I'm surprised how comfortable the ride is, even in this bad stretch. Like, it's a very bumpy road. I was scouting the locations on my Nexon. Compared to this, the suspension on that is much softer, but still I was moving more in that car than this one. So let's talk few EV things, the typical EV things. 90 kilowatt hour battery, range of 470 kilometers, real world range of maybe 300 to 350 kilometers is expected. Again, depends on how you drive it. If you constantly keep it in dynamic or sports mode, you would probably get 200 to 250 now. The first impression that I had is how good looking this car is. I'm not a big fan of crossovers, but this is probably one of the best out there in terms of design. This car was originally launched in 2018. It won Europe's best car of the year then. We got it now. Take a look at that design here. Big 19-inch wheels. I think this can do with the 21-inch or 20-inch wheels. And we get a nice integrated spoiler too. Hydraulic place to store your charging gear and all. This is the boot space. I think there's around 500 liters of boot space. Again, you have these hydraulic springs. Closest with the button. Let's see how this feels in the inside. So you got nice red leather seats. You got memory function seats, Meridian sound. They close with a good thud there. So once you step inside, the interiors feel very luxurious. Like all the materials that are used are very soft touch materials, leather. They have these interesting panels here that are customizable. You can have different materials here. So the steering has reach and rake adjustment. The only thing is it's manual, not electronic. Would have been nice if it was electronic. The seats feel very comfortable. These are performance seats. These are an added accessory. The stock ones are sport seats, which are the regular seats. If I'm buying this car, I would definitely get these seats. These are comfortable yet very sporty. And I'm almost 6 foot tall. Look at the height that I have. Because this is not a sunroof, this is a fixed panoramic glass. There is no mechanism to adjust or open it. That's why there is still a lot of headroom here. The whole ergonomics of this car feel perfect. There are a lot of adjustments available. There's a 14-way adjustable seat. Everything feels well laid out. So we have the digital driver instrument display and the infotainment system. Besides that, the climate control is also touchscreen. So you have ventilated seats for both the driver and the passenger. So you can control the temperature for the ventilated seats by pushing it. It's at its highest level right now. And you have climate control, 4-way adjusted climate control, 2 here at the front, 2 at the back. Lot of cubby space here. You get this nice nifty phone holder. The best thing is this is detachable, and look at how much space you get here. That's a lot here. a nifty space to leave the key here. Wireless charging. Unfortunately, no wireless CarPlay or Android Auto. These are the two buttons to change the drive modes, traction control on and off. This is for cruise control at a certain speed below 20. So in case you want to come out of slush or something, you can use this button. All these dots represent different menu options: phone, media, EV. So here you can change the regenerative braking. Let's try high right now. And some figures and stats. So we have a range of 155 kilometers with a potential of 15 more. This is something that I showed earlier. We have 360-degree camera. So we have 6 cameras all throughout. You can select individual camera to show the angle that you want. So this has a 4G SIM inbuilt, so you get a lot of connectivity features that you can check from your phone. Unfortunately, I don't have it right now with me. So you can have inbuilt navigation here with a few clicks. You have 2 dial option. So that's a 1 dial option, only media, or you can go full map, which I kind of like. These are the controls to select the menu options. These are touch controls except for the dial. So let's go back to 2 dial because I like the menu with the dials. More information here. So this shows the power or the regenerative options. So let's see how comfortable is the rear seat. The doors open up decently well, so the ingress and egress is decent, although this panel can come in the way, so that's something you need to get used to. You get decent headroom, in fact quite a lot actually. Not for the third passenger. If to get it, seating 2 is very comfortable, seating 3 would be tough because of this panel here. Just take a look at the view here. Yeah, like I love this. This is slightly tinted like your sunglasses, so the view, I don't know how it looks in the sun, but in nice cold climate like today, perfect. So this seat is set for my position, and look at how much of knee room is available. The under thigh support is pretty decent, much better than the GLEs that you see or BMW X5. The length and the width of the seat is pretty comfortable for 2 passengers, and I'm impressed how much of legroom there is available in this, because with EVs, with the batteries, the floor comes up. This doesn't do that. I couldn't sit in the Kona Electric in the rear seat. This one is pretty comfortable though. You get climate controls here at the back. Again, same concept of push and pull. Push for temperature and pull for the blower. 2 USB-C ports, a 12-volt socket here. We get nice cup holders here. These are not adjustable as such, so you get coat hooks here, and also here the AC vents are down here. The blind spots are kind of not that great because of the big C-pillar. Talking about blind spot, this car has an interesting feature that some of you might have seen on the Land Rover Defender. So this has a clear vision rear view mirror. So this is akin to what a typical rear view mirror is like, although borderless, which looks cool, right? But once I flip this button, you get a camera which is mounted on top of the car in that small shark fin antenna. This is clear as day and night. Only thing is, I don't know how it works in the rain because droplets can come in the way. This is good if, let's say, all your rear parcel tray that you see here is fully packed, and the blind spot that I was talking about can be slightly avoided here. Unfortunately, this doesn't have any other blind spot detection in the side view mirrors though. That would be perfect. There are tons of features that we can talk about. This road's getting slightly busy, so let's get to the showroom and talk more there. I have set the regenerative braking at the highest level, and I can feel it. Like the moment I leave the throttle, the car's pulling back. It's not, it's almost like someone's braking for you. This is very intrusive. Some people like it because they want to do a single pedal driving. Other people might prefer the low mode. I think I would use this because it would increase the range, and also I'm in the dynamic mode, and in dynamic mode you want to accelerate and also have the best range possible. So let's get to the main points. The few things that I loved about this car and few things that can do with an improvement. Probably the 5 things that I really loved about it is 1, the design, the exterior design. It looks amazing. And Jaguars in general, I heard, are very sporty in nature. So this has that Jaguar DNA, but at the same time, because it's an EV with a low center of gravity, it is handling amazingly well. Number 3 that I really enjoyed is just the sheer acceleration. 700 Nm of torque, has only single speed transmission, but 2 motors, both controlling the front and rear axle. So that's primarily for the all-wheel drive nature. It can go off-road as we saw. So there are only few features that are missing compared to its class. Maybe blind spot detection on the side view mirrors. Rest all, it's fully feature packed. So we got design, performance, handling, fully feature packed. And finally you have that exclusivity of owning a electric crossover that has won so many awards across the world, especially in Europe. Finally, we have it in India, and it has practically usable range of 470 kilometers. Expect anywhere at least 350 kilometers for sure. Maybe a few things that I consider amiss being a techie. This is just my personal opinion. Is I wish it had wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. More space in the boot because of space saver tire. It takes up a lot of boot space. I wish we have a system where it goes underneath the car, but because of the battery packs, I don't think you can put the tire anywhere else. So that's probably something we can be done better in the next version. Another thing that can be slightly better is I would still prefer hard tactile buttons any day over touchscreen buttons. Till now I haven't had any accidental presses. That's not the reason, it's just that the probability of someone doing accidental presses are high with these touchscreen buttons. You have to look down and then select it. Similar thing to regenerative braking. You have to select an option in the menu and adjust it. These are some things that you want to do it on the fly and also without looking at the screen so that you're safe on the road. Those are the few things that I wish JLR can do better, but these are just nitpickings, guys. If I have to give it a rating, I would definitely give 9 out of 10 because I just love the performance of the car. That's the first drive impressions of the Jaguar I-Pace. Thoroughly loved it. So what comes with the box when you buy it is a 7.4 kilowatt home charger, a cable obviously. It takes roughly 12 to 14 hours to fully charge it home, and the 50 kilowatt DC chargers would take 2 hours for 0 to 80%. Plug chargers would take 24 to 30 hours. So that's how the charging speeds are. Thoroughly enjoyed my time here, experienced 700 Newton meters of torque, instantaneous torque, and if I have the money, definitely this would be top of the list. Back in the familiar old Nexon EV, man, it feels so different. All the touch panels, steering wheel, acceleration. Acceleration bole to that car, man, it is a rocket. Seriously a rocket. And that sound, I'm missing that sound actually. I wanted that sound. That's it for today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and in case you're watching this in the night time, have a good night, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button because we are getting close to 100k and we have more exciting EV stuff coming up, so stay tuned.